Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Music Den. I'm your host, Armando Venditti. Hoping you guys are having a wonderful day, and above all else, that you're indeed looking after yourselves and one another, and that there's not snow on the ground where you are. Where there's snow on the ground where I am, won't go there.
Or
It's one of those things. Anyway, it's Alberta. What are you gonna do? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, before I get into the topic of another informative, insightful, entertaining episode, I want to welcome back to the channel Mr. Ken Cheshire, otherwise known as Old Curmudgeon. How's it going, Ken?
going well, Armando. Good to be back.
Good to have you back. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special live album spotlight for you. This is a live release that it, it's uh, it's fiery for sure. Um, the artist Robin Trower, ex-guitarist of Procol Harum, and his release of Live, the 50th anniversary edition. This album for me, well, first of all, this idea was an idea of Ken's to talk about as part of a live album spotlight. And this is a brand new album discovery for me. Whew, my God. The original release was released on March of 1976 through Christus Records. Upon release, the live album reached number 10 in the US charts. The reissue of Live 50th Anniversary was released on April 3rd, 2026. The music for this release was recorded on February 3rd, 1975 for the tour for the album, sorry, for Earth Below. My eyes are bad today. The venue was the Stockholm Concert Hall, and the remix has been done by Richard Whittaker. And the remix for this release was approved by Robin Trower. Now, this was basically done for a radio broadcast. Okay. What you have here in this release of Live is the original set list done in the original running order that it was intended on the night of the performance. And it is energetic, it is in your face. But before we get into it, Ken, what is your history with this album?
Actually, my history with this album isn't that long. Um, I discovered um, Robin Trower with his Bridge of Sighs album back in the day.
Hmm.
I didn't hear much Robin Trower on the radio where I grew up, and because honestly, um, for every one rock and roll radio station, there were like 15 country western stations. So it was kind of hard to find a good rock station, and you didn't have anything else to choose from. But I remember hearing specifically song wise Day of the Eagle.
Okay.
Um, and that really caught my attention. Um, of the guitar work, yes, for sure, but also from the bass player James Dwyer, his vocals, man, he doesn't get enough recognition for his vocals. He
Hmm.
is a fiery singer and not a slouch on bass guitar either.
Hmm. Hmm.
So yeah,
Um,
the album Bridge of Sighs is what got me into it. And by the way, I think last year, maybe the year before, they released a nice extended edition box set of Bridge of Sighs,
which I
which
do have,
I
yeah.
which
Yeah, they
I
did.
do too, and I highly recommend that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was something different. Yet it had a connection. Um, I grew up in the Southeast in Florida. It does have a connection in a way to Southern rock in that
I can hear that.
it's more blues based
Hmm.
than say Jeff Beck is more jazz based,
Hmm.
if you get my feelings. So yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I get
So
it.
uh so yeah, so it's like that kind of caught my ear, but it's so much different. First of all, this is one of my favorite trios of
Yeah,
Trower, Dwyer, and Lorden.
Before we go any further, playing on the album, yeah, and then we'll get back into that. Playing on the album, we have Robin Trower on guitar, James Dewar on bass and vocals, and Bill Lorden on drums.
Um,
Okay, and also as I go through my notes, the remix for this release was done by Jeff Emerick, who's worked with the Beatles, Queen, etc., and Robin Trower. So, yeah, he's had his hand, Robin Trower's had his hand in this release from the get-go.
yeah,
But yeah, power trio galore for this album. 12 tracks in total. And um, most of these tracks run in the 5 minute plus range. There's the occasional, well, I'd say one, two, three, four, one, two, three tracks that are like within the 3 minute range. But this is guitar galore. I mean, this is just, and the clarity of this. This is how the album was originally intended to sound in terms of the clarity, the stereo remix that's been done for this. So let's jump into it.
yeah.
Day of
Um,
the Eagle starts off the album.
yeah. Um, and which is, I think, probably might have been as close as he has ever had to a commercial hit, I think.
Hmm.
Um, goes from that right into Bridge of Sighs, like I mentioned.
Hmm.
Um, actually, I want to mention that you've already said that this is the 50th anniversary. It's got the songs in concert order.
Yeah,
First of all, a radio recording for radio, very good quality for that time. So,
hmm,
and kudos to them for having the master tapes to be able
hmm,
to really punch it up. Second of all, the original release was about half this long. It was not the entire concert, and
yeah,
it didn't even have some of his more popular songs on it.
yeah.
So,
You,
also, they didn't bring, and this entire album is from just one concert. A lot of live albums are taken from, even though it might be a complete lineup, song
yeah,
lineup from a concert, they're taken from different dates in
yeah.
different venues.
They're
This is
comped
it.
together. Yeah, they're
Yeah,
comped together.
yeah, this is it. And they don't have any other, they didn't bring on any extra guitarists or keyboards to fill in the background. It's just the trio.
What you
And
hear, what you hear is the trio, and it's loud, it's rich, wall to wall guitar.
yeah,
Um, it's in your face. It is just bombastic as
sure.
as anything I've ever heard. So
Yeah. And
yeah,
it's the thing about, like I said, it's more blues based in its flavor. So it's not a flashy album in the way that a lot of jam band, you know, bases up. Oh, excuse me. Um,
yeah.
it's more hypnotic than virtuosic, although there is plenty of virtuosity here.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Um, and the album has gradually built, um, you know, on repetition and groove
Yeah.
more than flash. But like I say, there's plenty of flash here.
Hmm.
It's heavy, like you said. It's spacious. It's got a slight dark tone
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah.
Um, Trower a lot of times reminds me of David Gilmour in that he'll use suspend a single note and just let it soar a single note over
Yeah.
you know eight eight beats or even more.
Hmm.
It's very soulful.
Hmm.
So he doesn't flood the musical space with notes. Um, it's really a mood. and the chemistry of this trio reminds me a lot of Cream, not in sound, but what they're able to accomplish
Accomplish. Yeah.
without any other musicians to help.
Yeah, it's kind of funny
And
how we're going to say the same word, how they're able to accomplish
yeah,
what they want to do. Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
So even when Trower is soloing, obviously he's not keeping up the rhythmic aspect. Um, to me, Trower is my favorite guitarist that is able to capture the Jimi Hendrix
yeah.
feel and
Yeah,
sound.
he does.
A lot of people say no, they like Stevie Ray Vaughan for that or Jeff Beck for that. My preference is Robin Trower, especially when he's using the wah wah pedal
Oh, yeah.
and he's got the that distorted sound going through a phase pedal at the same time, which
Yeah.
definitely gives it a hypnotic mood. Um,
Yeah.
so you've got those first two tracks, Dave the Eagle and Bridge of Sighs, which maybe even the moderate fan of 70s music would recognize. And then strap on, you're going for a ride with going to be more suspicious.
Yeah. Yeah.
That takes off, and that's where you're going to hear the virtuosity of his playing. So there are fast
Yeah.
running notes.
Yeah. I was going to say with I'm going to be more suspicious. In my notes, I have here able to bend notes on solo, just to sort of sustain the note and bend it, very much like Carlos
Gilmore,
Santana does,
yep, and
and
yeah,
Gilmore.
Santana too,
And
yeah,
Gilmore. Yeah. Just gotta stop using the word wonderful. Just amazing.
sure.
Because, yeah. And guys who watch my other videos, you know what I'm talking about. Um, I use the word wonderful too much. But, yeah,
Yeah,
just
and then
beautifully
you
done.
add on top of that, I mean, bass player James Dwyer, not only does he have a fantastic voice, but he sings blues. He's got that little bit of gravel in his voice, and he just
Hmm.
really knows how to milk those melodies and those words
Hmm.
to really match the blues and the guitar playing at the
The
same
mood of the
time.
song. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Holy cow, yeah. And then you follow up with three killer back-to-back tracks, Fine Day, Lady Love, and if Daydream doesn't remind you of Jimi Hendrix, you know, turn in your MP3 player. I'm sorry, you're not hearing things right. Um, and most of those songs weren't on the original album. So, and I
Yeah.
think it took some stones, um, uh, pun intended, because the next song is Two Rolling Stones, but for them to release the original album without the singles on it,
Yeah. He means
you know,
balls, ladies and gentlemen. But there you go.
yeah.
Um,
So, and I think that was a bold move, at the time. Um, so, it's Alethea, killer
mhm.
song. Another one that's very much a favorite of Trower fans. And so yeah, it's some strong live blues rock
Yeah.
that you wouldn't know it was live if you didn't hear the audience at the beginning or at the end of the track.
Hmm.
It's just so oh, it's just some it's like Garfield the cat. You warm your feet in some scrambled eggs. It's just a good feel. You
Okay.
know, good bluesy feel.
Yeah. I mean, this album is the one word that keeps coming back in my descriptions for each song is blistering,
Yeah,
blistering
yeah,
solos, blistering, just just a monster. I mean, again, this is the original running order of the set list that wasn't played on the night of, where on the opposed to the original release. The original release started with Two Rolling Stoned, um, which was I think track 7 on this.
So
But let's talk about Two Rolling Stone for a moment. 7 minutes and 12 seconds. And my notes I have here. This is a standout track for me. Great chugging rhythm guitar. Wonderful use of the open hi-hat.
yeah.
Use of wah-wah pedal, right? Great guitar soloing, solid drum pattern that comes in. The he just keeps the track moving on the
Yeah.
drums. Just one,
Yeah.
and at 2 minutes and 50 seconds, the it's a change in time signature, and then you know there's two guitar solos on this track that is just like, what am I hearing here? Like this is just like it's mind blowing. It's mind blowing. And what I will note here is that I failed to mention this. In this 50th anniversary edition, you have the newly remixed with the original running order done, but you presented as the first show.
Hmm.
But as an addition, you have the original released album from '76, which was the release from the simulcast. The sound difference, because I listened to it back to back.
Hmm.
It's like comparing Led Zeppelin to Liberace. The crisp and clear, the clarity of the remix. It is beautiful. It is awesome. It is just
Hmm.
so alive and in your face. The drums pop out at you like unreal.
Yeah.
Like, where was this remix when this was first? You know what I mean? Why did they wait 50 years for this to bring it out?
Mhm.
Why not do, when the technology was available, why not just, I would have just quickly done it and just sort of replaced it as the, commercially available version of the
Right.
album. Why
Right.
did this have to take 50 years? I don't get that.
Yeah.
But there is such a difference in the sound quality that you're wondering if your ears need to be cleaned out. You know what I mean? When you hear the original version, it's just like
Yeah.
it is so different,
Yeah.
so far removed from what you originally heard on the original mix that it is beautiful. It is beautiful.
And so for fans of the original album,
Yeah,
from what they're used to hearing, then listening to the new remix, the
yeah,
restored remix,
yeah,
it's like a whole new album.
yeah,
And but I'm glad they still kept the old one on the disc too.
yeah.
So you've got both. If you don't like the new one, you still got the old one.
Well, at least you have a choice.
That's right.
At least you have a choice. Let me just go through the track listing
Yeah.
for people watching, just so that you get an
Yeah.
idea, like so that you know. Starts off with Day of the Eagle, this well-known single. Bridge of Sighs is track 2. Then you have Gonna Be More Suspicious, Fine Day, Lady Love, Daydream, Two Rolling Stone, track 7. After that, you have I Can't Wait Much Longer. Alethea is track 9. Track 10, A Little Bit of Sympathy. Track 11, Confessin' Midnight. And Rock Me Baby is track 12. From track 1 to track 12, you are taken on a fucking roller coaster ride. And you better strap yourselves in because you don't know where the hell you're going to end up.
Yeah.
You may even be thrown off the ride at like just before you get to the final stop. Because when you think he's going in a certain path, he changes it up and just
Yeah.
he goes off on another tangent, on another solo, and you're just like, the hell is this?
Yeah.
For how can I put this? For virgin ears of blues music and of live blues music, this is just like a baptism in fire. You know, you know what I mean? Like
Well, you've already used the term, I think, blazing.
blistering,
Um,
blistering.
blistering, yeah, it reminds me of that line in that wonderful film, Almost Famous, incendiary. It's incendiary. That's my go-to for something like this.
Yeah,
And I don't say that easily.
yeah. No, no. I'm afraid to say that. I might get tongue-tied and screw myself up there. Incendiary, incendiary. There we go. There we go.
There you go.
There we go. But yeah, it's an experience. It's an experience. For those of you, and I'm going to say this, for those of you that think of Kiss Alive as the ultimate live experience, listen to this. Listen to Robin Trower Live 50th Anniversary Edition. It'll fuck you up. I'm telling you right now, it'll screw you
Well,
right
there
up.
you go.
You won't know what hit you. I'm telling you. So yeah, it is just wonderful. I've
Yeah,
used the word wonderful. Yeah, it is. It is. It is exemplary. This
yeah.
is
And if it doesn't strike you that way, um, um, take an edible and then try it again.
Ken said that, not me, not me. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it.
There you have it.
Live album spotlight on Robin Trower, live 50th anniversary edition. Please put down in the comments below your opinion of this album, your history with this album. Do you prefer the original release from '76, or do you prefer the 50th anniversary edition release of the two albums? Again, no right or wrong answers, just opinion. This for me was a new experience. I mean, obviously, I have Bridges Size. I also have that. There's a 10 CD collection of his albums that I do have. But this was just a whole new experience for me. And we want to get people's opinion on this and their experience with this album. So again, please put down in the comments below your view of this album and which version of this album do you prefer, right? I mean, some people would like probably the original because that's what they're used to,
Sure.
you know.
Well,
But
it's like when they originally released the Beatles on CD in the US.
yeah,
It was the English version, the British version. And I had friends that were longtime Beatles fan here in the US. They were only used to the Columbia, you know, and they had a hard time adjusting to the new or the original British versions.
that's a whole other ball game. Like I
Ain't
never
it though?
under a little side note, little mini rant, big surprise on this channel. I don't understand why EMI or Parlophone released alternate versions between the UK and the North American releases. I have no idea.
Follow the money.
Follow the money, I guess, and it just screws you up as a fan, right? Because I mean, when you have these discussions on these episodes and you talk about, oh, the US version or the North American version is better, then you have someone saying, you're nuts. The UK version or the European version is better. You have no idea
Yeah.
what you're talking about. You create all this drama and stress for nothing.
Hmm.
But anyways,
Anyway,
all right, ladies and gentlemen, again, live album spotlight, Robin Trower live 50th anniversary edition. Please check it out. It released through Chrysalis Records. You can get this on Amazon.ca.com.co.uk. On Amazon.ca is running for $39.99 for the double disc. Yeah, this is just amazing. Just baptism by fire, pretty much. So again, let us know what you think in the comments below. We are working on other shows. We are eventually going to be doing Outlaws and Heroes, where Bill Schuster and Ken's going to join us for this episode, where Bill is taking the lead on this episode, and we're going to be discussing country rock.
Yeah.
Bill is ready to go, from what I understand. We just have to nail down a date for that.
Yeah.
We have more shows that we're working on, and we're going to bring to you. We are going to be having a discussion. We just came up with this idea on Tears for Fears and their 1995 release, Raoul and the Kings of Spain. Okay? A long lost, underappreciated gem of an album that we feel wholeheartedly deserves more fucking attention.
For sure.
Plain and simple. That's all I'm going to say about that. Anyways, more ideas. We're going to bring them to you as quickly as we possibly can. Please click like and subscribe, and do join us on X. We are now on X. And for those of you who have joined us already, we much appreciate it. And we thank you so much for that, for the support. And click like and subscribe on YouTube in order to keep in the loop as to what is happening with our episodes. All right. We love you all. We appreciate you all. And we appreciate that you still appreciate us after 3 years. And we're going to be doing more videos as quickly as we can. Okay. Have a great day. Look after yourselves and one another. I need more coffee. Have a great day. Bye for now.